I'll start in the second half of our conference season, so looking forward to that. And like you just said, playing the number one team in the country, so heading to their place and looking forward to getting a couple days of practice in before we do so.
You said number one team. How does this Penn State team, they've been number one a lot over the years, how does this compare to other vintage Penn State teams?
Man, it's this team might be as good as any team that they've had. Very, very experienced seniors up and down the lineup. They're outside hitters. They're as physical of outside crew as since I've been in the conference. You know, you don't need to pass great to be able to get those guys the ball and for them to bail you out. They're running a 6-2, which means they've got 3 hitters at all times and being able to run a pipe out of there. So they've got a lot of weapons. Washington, man, she might be the most physical middle that the Big Ten's maybe ever seen. You know, she's really good. And Thielen, I had a coach tell me this morning, she might be the most improved player from last year to this year in the conference. And a libero that's just, very, very tough-minded and scrappy and good. This team's it's as good as they've had. You throw on top of that going to their place. I think it's been over 10 years since Wisconsin's even won a set at their place. You know, and it's probably been 20 years since we've gone in there and won. It's just they're good. Looking forward to the challenge.
You've had plenty of challenges. You've been close.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a consistent thread into where you've come up just that little bit short, or is it varied from opponent to opponent?
The consistency is that we've played 6 matches in the past month and a half against teams that are ranked in the top 10 in the country. So there's a little bit of perspective that needs to, we're not light years away. We're close. We've got to be a little bit more consistent. We played Saturday night against a team that I thought it was neck and neck. The difference in the 3 sets that we lost is we gave up runs of points. I think it was in each of those 3 sets we gave up just a run of points, and that was kind of the separating factor in it. And we've got to be a little bit more consistent in those areas. We've played a lot of Wednesday weekends, and there's positives and negatives to that. The positives is that you can really, really prepare for each of your opponents. The negatives of that is that you're not getting a lot of practice time. It's you're playing Friday, Saturday, or Friday, Sunday. You can take a day off and you get a few days of practice. And with the squad that we've got and people coming back from injuries and just the youth. That would be beneficial of trying to train and figure some things out. We've been changing the lineups around and trying to figure things out on the fly during matches. And, although we've been able to prep for our opponents, it hasn't allowed us a lot of time in the gym. And so we're going to start getting into that after this next week. No, I don't know. Like I told the team, I thought we looked better against Minnesota this past weekend than what we did a couple weeks ago. But they were better as well. I think anybody that's watched us, I'm sure there's probably a little bit of frustration in the sky's falling mentality with some of the people. We're honestly not looking at it that way. We're looking at it as how can we get better. I think our connection with our middles have gotten a lot stronger. Anybody that's been watching, paying close attention can tell that that's happening. And, especially in transition, we're getting a lot better. Dana came off, as good of a week as I think I've ever seen anybody have from a middle blocker. Gilly's passing has gotten a lot better. She's, somebody that we're playing 6 rotations, has been awfully good in the backcourt. Madison's being a lot more physical from the right side and taking swings, and we're trying to get her involved a little bit more on the offense. I like the direction that we're headed. It hasn't shown in top 10 wins, but we're right there.
Andy in the back.
Kelly, you really touched on the topic here, but can you describe the challenge that you have trying to keep a young team focused on the bigger picture as opposed to you just lost to another ranked team, another top 10 team, and another top 10 team, trying to keep them on an even keel as opposed to maybe taking a step back when the competition is as tough as it is for you guys?
You know, it's a great question. You know, that one of the things you're concerned with as a coach a little bit is that your kids aren't losing confidence. You know, and so that there's, but that's why you get them involved, whether you're winning or losing, involved in the process. And you hear coaches talk about that all the time, but it's so important. I mean, it's. You know, we played, you know, maybe the toughest schedule in the country this year, certainly one of them. And I can't imagine anybody that's had a tougher past week and a half. You know, and our kids are trying to win every single one of those matches. But, you know, what you try to get them to focus in on is where have we come? You know, where were we? You know, what have we gotten better at, and what do we need to continue to get better at? And you put all your energies in that. You know, like I told him the other day. You know, we get back and pulled him aside on the runway after we landed, and before we kind of got on the bus, and just said, you know, guys, hey, you know, I'm sure everybody entered this season hoping to challenge for a Big Ten title. That's clearly not going to happen, but. You know, if we can get our heads wrapped around being one of those teams that's got a shot at being in the Final Four at the end of the year, we've got that kind of talent. We're not that far away. Let's focus in on getting better. Let's stay together. Let's not listen to the outside noise, and let's stay with it and keep trusting each other. If we do that, we're going to give ourselves a shot.